Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Same bookcase, new space. So if you've watched me recently, you'll know that I just basically took a 2-week break because I was moving. I am in the new place now. I have my bookcase set up. Videos are gonna resume now. I will warn you guys, because it's a new space, I don't really know how the lighting and the sound are gonna work, so be patient. I'll get it figured out eventually. There's a lot of disturbance. Now you know why. The hell is that? Just found a sticky gem attached to my sock. Wonder where that came from. So I thought, just to get back to the swing of things, I would do what I read in May. I read 6 books in May. One of them was physical. Most of them were on my Kindle. One of them was an audiobook. Forewarning, I read 3 Dragon Riders of Pern books this month. Nostalgia has clouded my judgment. I have no shame. Let that factor into what you think about these books. So number 6 is Craft Stories I Wrote for the Devil by Ananda Lima. This is a short story collection. It starts with a short story about the writer sleeping with the devil at a party, and then a lot of stories centered around like fears about immigration during the first Trump administration and COVID, and then some weird surreal stories. It's hard to do a description for a short story collection just because of the nature of what it is. I will tell you guys, my favorite story was Idle Hands because it was just such interesting commentary. If you've ever been in a writing group, getting feedback from people who don't understand your story is truly a beast of its own. I don't know if the audio is gonna be different. I had to turn my fan on because it is so hot in my room. I'm not really sure what to do with this book, which is why it's last. I don't think it was bad. I think it was really smart. I don't think it was for me. Again, my favorite of the stories was Idle Hands, partly because I've been in writing groups like that where you're asking for feedback and the very specific things you want feedback are, and then nobody gives you that feedback. It also, the more I think about it, I think it's a little bit of autofiction. Maybe not completely, but definitely there are some parts that are very heavy autofiction, and I just don't like autofiction. I don't like memoir. I've never liked those type of genres, so, you know, it's just, I am not the target audience. If you like autofiction and you like short stories, I recommend checking it out, but it's at the bottom of the list because it's not necessarily for me. I meant to write my star ratings down, and I'm not sure if I did. I think I gave Craft 3 stars. I'm not sure. My rating doesn't matter because I know I'm not the target audience. So number 5 is the only book I have a physical copy of. The Once and Future Witches by Alix Harrow. I've had this book for like 5 years and I finally read it. The premise of this one is it basically takes place during the women's right to vote, the suffragette movement, that's what it's called. And it's in a universe where witchcraft is real and witches exist. And so it's basically a parallel of witches trying to take back their power and also trying to get the right for women to vote. Full disclosure, I think I've had a very busy May. I started reading this right before I graduated, so I was working on finals, I was preparing to, you know, physically go to the city where my college is so I could walk the stage. I was out of town, there was a lot of drinking, and then immediately after that, I was packing up my childhood bedroom, essentially, to move. So it took me way too long to read this book, and I think that might have affected what I think about it. That being said, I feel like the story that she wanted to tell and the world building she didn't quite go together, if that makes sense. Like, there were things I really liked about the story of the 3 sisters who are the main characters, and there were things I really liked about the world building, but the way that they resolved themselves just didn't feel right to me, if that makes sense. And parts of it felt very anticlimactic, so I do think maybe if this had been a series, I would feel very differently about it. Yeah, it's one of those things that's like, it was such a cool idea, and I think parts of it were handled really, really well and with a lot of nuance. And then just some of the plot points, it felt like she was rushing it or she was cramming too much into it. I don't know. I do think one of my biggest kind of gripes with it is I feel like Juniper was kind of treated as the main character. Like, all three of the sisters are main characters, obviously, but I feel like Juniper is the one that you're really supposed to latch on to. She's kind of the catalyst for a lot of this stuff, and I feel like she had the worst arc out of the three sisters. Like, I would have liked it better if it focused way more on Agnes, because I feel like Agnes's arc was so well done. Like, she very much goes at the beginning to someone who wants nothing to do with the movement, nothing to do with witches, nothing to do with magic, to, you know, actively using it to help other people. Her arc was really well done. Juniper, like, I kind of feel like her major character flaw is that she's reckless, and that she never really confronts that. What happens to her at the end just doesn't really feel like she's had any growth, if that makes sense, and that kind of annoyed me, because I did like her, she didn't change and develop as a character. Again, there were some things I really liked about and some things I really didn't, and I think, honestly, I just want it to be a series, want it to be at least a duology. I feel like she was trying to put way too much into one book, and it's 500 pages, so the fact that I feel like some things were rushed really tells me that she had too complex of a story. Yeah, I think I gave this 3.5 stars, maybe? I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I'm finally done with it. Took me 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, honestly. Not sure. But it didn't take me as long as the next book. So number 4 is Where There's Room for Us by Hayley Kiyoko. I read this as an audiobook, and I had to check it out from Libby twice. It took me 2 21-day loans to get through it, and that's mostly just because I was so busy I didn't have time to listen to an audiobook. Kind of by the time I was doing the majority of my packing, my loan had ended and I had to wait for it to come back. So it wasn't very long. The premise of this is it's basically a Regency era sapphic romance. The main characters are an American poet who just moves to London because her brother inherited a title, a Viscount title, I think. I forget what her like actual title is. She's like a lord's daughter, and she's not yet to marry, and she realizes through the process, like, they fall in love, and the big conflict is that she's the one who's supposed to pass down the title by marrying a man, and that doesn't happen, obviously. Very, very cute lesbian Regency, Pride and Prejudice type romance book. I think it's why I had a great time reading it. I will say that I feel like most of the things I really enjoyed about it and got out of it were because I'm very deep in the Hayley Kiyoko lore. And if you are not deep in the Hayley Kiyoko lore, this book is dedicated to her now fiance, Becca Tilly. But so the two main characters are Hayley Kiyoko and her fiance. And so there are a lot of like references to songs and like points in their relationship that I know because I follow them both on Instagram and have been really locked into the lore. But if you don't know that stuff, it's not going to, like, it's not like you have to know the lore to enjoy it, but I do feel like it's very much a love letter to her fans. You know, like, it's self-indulgent in a way that I'm not sure will translate. By all means, read it, and if you enjoy it despite not knowing the lore, let me know. But truly, like, the fangirl in me is what was having a great time reading this book. And I really think it's funny because the lore is that Becca Tilly was on The Bachelor, so having to do like the Regency suitor type of situation as like a translation of The Bachelor situation is really funny, and I loved it. So yeah, I gave that 4 stars. It was great. Recommend it, but you know, it this may have a very specific target audience, and that's okay. That's okay. I was the target audience, so I had a grand old time. And then the next 3 are the Anne McCaffrey books I read. Unsurprisingly, again, nostalgia. I read the Harper Hall trilogy, which is the second trilogy in the Greater Dragon Riders of Pern series. They're like 24 books, and they have 2 trilogies in them. This one is focused on the Harpers, primarily Menely, who is a young girl who's apprenticed as a Harper because she's really, really good. So it's all about her adventures, and then, so the first 2 books are focused solely on her, and then the 3rd book is her friend getting involved in shenanigans. And I love the Harpers because they're musicians, but they're also responsible for like oral history and keeping the peace. They do these weird little side missions that are really fun. So yeah, Menely is my favorite character. I love these books. I recommend them if you want just a pretty chill fantasy book, or sci-fi fantasy. It is more sci-fi than it is fantasy, but it has dragons in it. So the order that I'm doing this is number 3 is Dragonsinger, because I do like it, but I feel like it's a little bit more slow paced than some of the others. Like, it is really just her acclimating to Harper Hall and like gaining confidence in herself. There isn't a whole lot that happens. So it's very cute, but it's not my favorite. And then Dragondrums, which is the one that focuses on Piamir. I'm not sure if that's how you say his name, but that's how I'm gonna say his name. That one's fun because he just gets into all sorts of trouble. Like, genuinely, how? That's the only question I have for him. It's how. So that's the 3rd book. And then number 1 is Dragonsong, which is the first one, which the majority of the book is her living in a cove on the beach to escape her family with her fire lizards. And I love that. Yeah, my number 3 are all books that I've read before, back when I was 13, and the nostalgia definitely went there, but I don't care. So, you know, I recommend them. They're all 5 stars. There's not much more to say about them other than that. I can show you. This is my copy of the first trilogy. I don't have the Harper Hall trilogy. I had to get all those through my Kindle. I'm trying to focus because I wasn't planning on reading all the Dragon Riders of Pern books this year, so I do have a lot of other books I need to read. I currently have... One minute, I have my Kindle right here so I can show you the book that I'm just got. I haven't started it yet. The author's name is hidden behind the Kindle thing. Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardust. I'm not sure if that's how you say her name, but yeah, I've had that on my TBR forever. I'm finally reading it this year. I don't know what I'm going to read in June. I'm trying to force myself to read some stuff that's actually on my TBR, because right now what my heart wants is just to keep reading the Dragon Riders of Pern. So let me know what you guys are reading right now. Maybe I'll get some ideas from you. Things that grow my brain that aren't just purely driven by nostalgia. But that's not bad. That's not bad. You know, they are like sci-fi books. Half the stuff that happens in them, you have to like just accept you don't know what it means. Which that's the trick to reading sci-fi. If you've never read sci-fi, you're gonna be confused for most of it, and you just have to keep on going and accept you'll figure it out eventually. I'm not even joking a little bit. But yeah, so those are the books I read in May. I'm happy to be back. I have my bookshelf set up. My room is pretty much unpacked. I have a little bit more work to do in the rest of the apartment. Hopefully that's over soon and we can resume as normal. So thank you guys for sticking around, even though I wasn't here for a couple weeks. Really appreciate it. You can follow me on my socials if you want. You can subscribe to the channel. Keep an eye out for whatever I do next. I have an Etsy shop. That will all be in the description. Let me know what you're reading right now. Let me know what your favorite color is. And yeah, that's all I got for you. And I'll see you guys next week. Finally get to see you guys next week. Bye.